right, welcome to the show, y'all. Forgive the background. I am on vacation. Hopefully there's no background noise. I think they're doing some construction outside, but I haven't heard anything in a little while. But anyway, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. We got a lot of stuff to get to today. Please do me a big favor. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel. And of course, much love and thank you to everybody who supports this show on Patreon. Literally couldn't do it without you. This is real independent media. I've never had a conversation with an advertiser. I've never done an ad read. Very proud of that fact. You guys make it possible with your Patreon support and with your tips on YouTube. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into it. I got a lot of stuff to get to here. So Elon Musk is crashing out hard, bro. Hard. I've never seen anything like it. I'll break all that down for you. One bad decision after another, one lie after another, one humiliating moment after another. We'll dive into all that. Then we'll get to Trump's fascism, which is absolutely spiraling out of control. I'll give you some updates about what's going on with the destruction of due process in this country. Then we'll get to MSNBC hosts have a heated debate over Bernie and AOC's huge rallies. I have a big takeaway from that that's super important, so don't miss that segment. And then later on, Democratic politicians are realizing that the Democratic Tea Party has finally arrived. And we have a MAGA billionaire basically telling grandma to shut up if she misses her Social Security check, and it's not a big deal. All right, so we got all that and more. Don't want to miss any of it. Let's go ahead and dive into it. So let's start with this, guys. So this story had my jaw on the floor. The New York Times is reporting that Elon Musk and Doge have basically raided our doomsday seed bunker that we have in this country. So what is that? The doomsday seed bunker, I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory here, but basically there are a million foodborne illnesses and viruses that could like wipe out our crops, right? And so what we've done is we've kept a vault of every genetic variation of all of our food with the seeds for like over 100 years, right? And so Elon and Doge go in there and they go, all the scientists that maintain this, and by the way, it needs constant care in order to continue to maintain it. He goes, all you scientists, fired, get out. So now, in one fell swoop, he destroyed our doomsday bunker, which would protect our crops if there's some foodborne illness that spreads everywhere, that wipes out all of our plants. Now, look, you might respond to that and be like, well, I mean, other countries probably have their own, so maybe we can rely on them, which is an understandable take, but at the same time, Trump's been giving the middle finger to all of our allies since day one, now that he's been in office. Who would want to help us? Like, nobody would want to help us in that situation. And also, we're just not being self-reliant anymore. And the idea that, hey, maybe the private sector will fill in the gap. No, it won't. No, it won't. This is something that is squarely in the realm of what the government should be doing, right? This is like the doomsday seed bunker. And so he destroyed it in one fell swoop. So I highly recommend everybody go read the full article over on the New York Times. Why did Elon Musk go after a bunker full of seeds? And it just goes to show you, this guy, he's not fit to be a manager at an Arby's. Never mind be the world's richest man. Never mind be the most powerful person in our government, even overriding the president in many respects. That's why people call him the co-president or the shadow president. All right, so I also have this for you. Elon Musk, as you all know, he's been going around saying, oh, we have 150-year-olds getting Social Security checks and 200-year-olds getting Social Security checks. That's a lie. And it's a lie because they're laying the groundwork to illegally cut the program, right? The reality is, when it says in the computer that somebody's 150 or 200 and they're getting Social Security, that's just a coding issue, or if you don't have perfect information, it defaults to an older date. And everybody knows this. Anybody who's an expert, anybody who's familiar with the system, anybody who's worked in the Social Security Administration, they will tell you that. But Elon came out and was either the biggest idiot in the world or the biggest liar in the world, and he said that. Then Donald Trump went out and repeated it in his speech to Congress. And so now you got this misinformation floating everywhere that, oh yeah, we got 200-year-olds getting Social Security because the system is so fraudulent. Total lie. Completely and utterly untrue. Well, guess what? Now he added a new lie. So he comes out and he's like, bro, there's so many babies, there's so many kids getting Social Security checks. Obviously, every one of these things is completely fraudulent. You absolute moron. You absolute moron. For those of you who don't know, Social Security also provides assistance to kids who lost their parents. So if both of your parents died in a functional, civilized, developed society, we make sure those people are okay. So the Tennessee Holler points out, Doge and Elon claim they found hundreds of millions in Social Security loans going to kids. But it's an annuity to kids whose parents passed away. This is fucking basic, bro. This is basic. And the thing is, like, if Elon himself doesn't understand that, does he not realize that, like, millions and millions of people already know that that's how the system works, and he's just wildly uneducated about the topic or the biggest liar in the world. So again, Elon comes out and says, no more loans to babies or people too old to be alive, i.e. stolen Social Security numbers. So again, the reason they're doing this, I need everybody to understand this. The reason they're doing this is because they're laying the groundwork to cut Social Security without even having to go through Congress. And it's going to be under the guise of, oh, we're just going after the waste, fraud, and abuse, right? And we've already seen it. People who they claimed were dead, who weren't dead, who got their Social Security cut off, people who were born overseas on a U.S. military base, which is U.S. soil, but Elon said, nope, looks like that person was born in Germany, so we're cutting off their Social Security. We already know of 2 examples of this, but there's probably honestly hundreds or thousands, and just not everyone has gotten a local news report. So they're already cutting Social Security illegally. I mean, this is, guys, 5-alarm fire. I don't know how else to get this across to you. All right, more. So Jamal Bowman was on CNN, and he called Elon Musk an incompetent thief and a Nazi. And, somebody's tweeting about this here and saying, this is a lawsuit waiting to happen. So Elon responds and says, I've had enough. Lawsuit inbound. Elon, weren't you the dude who, 2 years ago, you would not shut the fuck up about being an apparent free speech absolutist? Now, all of a sudden, it's Jamal Bowman calls me things I don't like, so I'm going to sue him. By the way, if you don't want to be called an incompetent thief, maybe don't take $8 million a day from the government as you slash pediatric cancer research. If you don't want to be called a Nazi, maybe don't do multiple Zig Heils at Trump's inauguration. Maybe don't respond approvingly to Nazis on Twitter on a regular basis. So not only are these opinions, these are opinions backed by evidence, and he wants to sue over that. Because honestly, he might be the most anti-free speech person we've ever seen in our lives, even though he used to suck himself off and say he's a free speech absolutist on a regular basis. So this guy here says, I really hope he does sue Bowman, and then there's discovery. And why would he say something like that? Oh, I don't know. Maybe because as part of Elon's crash out earlier in the week, he had 4 Nazi posts in a row. Look at this. He retweeted, this person is just a flat-out white supremacist, and they're doing all the fear-mongering about the white farmers in South Africa. So that was one thing he retweeted. This is another thing he retweeted. This is another Nazi account. What percentage of the world's population is white? 7%. And Elon says, and dropping fast. So in other words, that's a nod to the white supremacist, Nazi, white genocide idea. Then we got this one here. This is dark, bro. This is dark. So, somebody tweets, don't people realize that we hate Hitler not for doing a quirky salute, but for killing millions of people? Has Elon killed even a single person? No. And just because his son says something, that doesn't necessarily make it true. And there's an article that says, Elon Musk's daughter says father's rally gesture was definitely a Nazi salute. So Elon replies to this and says, exactly, my son Xavier died. He was killed by the woke mind virus. Now the woke mind virus will die. Elon Musk has a trans daughter, and he still calls his trans daughter his son and says, basically, his son died. No, Elon, you have a trans daughter, and the inability of you to accept her basic humanity is fucking disgusting. And by the way, there's a built-in implication here. He didn't actually respond to the Nazi part of this, right? So she said, Vivian, I believe her name is, said, yeah, that was definitely a Nazi salute. Elon didn't respond and say, I wasn't doing a Nazi salute. He didn't respond to that part. Why? Gee, I wonder why. It's because he did a Nazi salute. All right. More South African white nationalist shit that he's replying to. So yeah, if you don't want to be called a Nazi, stop fucking posting Nazi shit. Stop posting Nazi shit. All right, more. Again, to the point that this is the most anti-free speech man in history. Elon Musk is now suspending accounts of opposition figures in Turkey for reporting on massive protests against Erdogan's autocratic regime following the arrest of Istanbul's mayor. And you can see here a political article, Elon Musk's ex suspends opposition accounts in Turkey amid civil unrest. This is a legendary crash out, bro. I've never seen a man, one decision after the next, one day after the next, just until the end of time, just bad decision, bad decision, bad decision, bad decision. And then finally, I'll leave you with this one, because this just perfectly encapsulates, guys, how long have we heard conservatives just pat themselves on the back and say, look, bro, the left hates free speech, we love free speech, right? Meanwhile, at the same time, here we are, a year or two later, from peak, we love free speech, bro. Cat Turd says, as a U.S. citizen, the First Amendment guarantees you free speech. Therefore, don't be afraid to say exactly what you want, when you want, and how you want it. Until you don't give a fuck what anyone says about you, you'll never be free. So this was from a few years back, right? And we get this. He just said this. Breaking, Elon Musk is going to file a lawsuit against Jamal Bowman for calling him an incompetent thief and a Nazi on CNN. Cat Turd says, take every dime he has. We love free speech. Actually, what we mean by that is we love free speech for people we like. And anybody we don't like, we want to take all their money, we want to bankrupt them, we want to lock them up for saying things that we don't agree with. So this is just, I mean, god damn it. This is a legendary crash out from Elon, but also from the other conservative figures who all despise free speech, even though they pretended that they love free speech. I hate these people, and you should hate these people too. And it's one bad decision after another bad decision. It's one lie after another lie. It's one piece of hypocrisy after another piece of hypocrisy. There is literally no saving grace when we talk about these people. And unfortunately, they have all the power. Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.